Salut survivors, welcome back to SolutOdka's channel in Night of the Dead for a new video guide. In previous video guides, I have covered multiple topics from day one for beginner and multiple maze design tips. Now this one is the advanced maze design and master plan strategy video guide. It will be split into two phases. A first part being on the resource management, and the second one on the maze loop design and master planning. Now, as mentioned, the resource management is a key aspect of the game because you will have a shortage of time. You will need time to gather resources, time to fight zombies, time to build, time to do many things. So time in this game, as in many survival games, time is of the essence. Therefore, in terms of the resource management, one first key step is to discuss is the research tree. In my opinion, there are three better ways to get started in the game with a tech tree for your resource management. One way is to have better tools. So in order to have better tools, it's with blacksmiths. You can upgrade your weapons and upgrade your axe, pickaxe, knife, and the different tools to harvest. So you can harvest more efficiently when you upgrade your tools with a blacksmith. Another aspect is to harvest more efficiently thanks to the worker tree. So first it's for all the wood products, the second one is for the stone products, and lastly for the iron products, and then one that upgrades everything. And the third key one is a builder one. The junior builder, senior builder will make your resources to the cost of your resources to build things to be lower. So in short, you have three first tech trees to develop in the game. This is blacksmith, forest worker or worker tech tree, and builder tech tree. These three tech trees should be your priority in the game in order to improve your resource harvesting, thanks to the worker and the blacksmith, and your resource consumption when building, thanks to the builder. You will, in the very first days, need to build a lot, so you will need to increase your capacity to harvest and increase your capacity to build efficiently. Another aspect in your resource management is that you can craft and build multiple structures for you to generate resources. So all your resources are not coming from cutting trees, mining iron nodes, stone nodes. You can produce some of these resources by yourself to become ideally partially self-sufficient. So you have the animal traps, the small ones and the medium ones. They are extremely important because they will provide you the resources you need to operate your base. You will gain there the resources you need in order to build a meat bait early game, for example. It will provide you the resources to generate manure for your farms, for your bush replantations. It will provide you the small animal meat in order to repair your meat bait. So the income from planting or building small animal traps and medium animal traps is highly important in the early game, mid game up to late game, I would say. Then you have the mining machines and the oil drilling machines, as well as the quarrying machines. In my opinion, considering the cost of the maintenance kits, the quarrying machines to obtain stones is kind of debatable. And in my case, I'm in the middle of the mountains here in this legendary playthrough, so I have a lot of stone nodes nearby, so the investment in the quarrying machine was not ideal. But very early in the game, I have invested into the ore mining machines, and this is, I think, a very good learning for me in this game, that investing early on in these mining machines guarantees for you to get a constant supply of copper and iron. I am now in a situation with a complete excess of iron and copper, and I have never really lacked of iron and copper since I built these three mining machine, I think around day 10 to 12. And then you have the oil drilling machines. In the late game, oil is key. Without oil, you will die in the late game. So you need oil, plenty of oil, and you can of course go scavenge every day to get oil, which is what I'm doing nowadays. But the easiest way to produce oil in a steady supply every single day is to get oil drilling machines. So these are some very important aspects in your resource management. You will end up in a shortage of resources to produce the maintenance kits for these machines to operate. This will create a new challenge in the game, but this is a very important step in your resource management and time management. You then have the bush tree plantation. Its efficiency is highly debatable. It's expensive to operate in terms of manure and seeds, but once again, there is a moment when you will be able to produce a lot of manure thanks to many animal traps. And the seeds, there is a moment in the game where you stop to have an issue with this thanks to the farms. And anyway, every day you need to gather tree branches and you obtain seeds. So you can still plan to have some bush tree plantation as a backup, but do not expect to produce 100% of your needs in tree branches thanks to bush tree plantations. That will not happen. Or you would need 20 to 30 bush tree plantations, and the operating cost of this will be tremendously high. So that's not ideal. We have now covered how to manage your resource management in the game, and I would like now to share several of the key learnings I got now. I am at the day 33 in Legendary, so I got multiple learnings in this playthrough that I would like to share with you. There are one or two fundamental aspects in your maze design. One is to ensure to have a mid bait. That might seem obvious, but if you don't have a mid bait, you will not go really far in the game. That won't happen. Another key aspect is to ensure to not choke the zombies in the tower defense you're building. If they are choking, the zombies will damage everything around them. So at the start of your maze, you need to keep it wide enough. For me here, I had previously multiple shredders that they broke. I did not rebuild all of these shredders, so that now when they come, they have more space. So they stop to damage everything all around them. So don't choke the zombies in their path. Another aspect, really important I believe in the game, is that considering that time is of the essence, so time is of the essence in the bigger picture for your resource management, but time is also of the essence during the whole nights, during the waves, because you need time to repair, reload your traps, reload your ranged traps, we'll come to this in a second, and you need time. So some zombies will reach the end of your tower defense maze. So you need to have trapdoors. Trapdoors, I believe, in any long-term base are mandatory. If you want to go far in a high difficulty, you will need trapdoors. That it goes without saying. Without trapdoors, the zombies will reach the mid-bait at the end. Okay. So in this example here, I have 3 trapdoors here, 3 trapdoors there on the main maze, and I have another 7 or 8 trapdoors in the secondary maze, maze number 2 here. So trapdoors should be fully integrated in the master plan of your base. Without these trapdoors, zombies will reach your mid-bait in no time. Trapdoors are mandatory. Now, another aspect is you need to have multiple mazes. You need to have either multiple mazes and you alternate between mazes, or you need to have a main maze and a secondary maze. And why is that? It's because when you will have a lot of zombies, and believe me, when you go far in the game, there is a moment they are just too much. You cannot plan to handle all of the zombies just by yourself on a normal maze. There will be a moment, at some point in time, this will just be too much. So what you need is to have multiple mazes to split the flow of zombies. So either you split it over time, so say between midnight to 1 a.m. you make them go to maze A, between 1 and 2 you make them to go to maze B, between 2 and 3 to maze C, that could be one way. Or you have another way, which is what I did here in this playthrough, is that zombies constantly always go through the main maze. The main maze is just under me, we were there a few minutes ago. So this main maze then have multiple trapdoors, and when zombies fall off from the trapdoors or fall off from the maze due to the pendulum or due to the cutters, when zombies fall off, then they enter into the maze 2. Because the maze 2 path to the mid bait is shorter when I open that door here. Therefore, they go towards the maze number 2. And they don't go anymore back to the maze 1, which is like unloading the flow of zombies in the maze 1, because anyway the maze 1 is completely overloaded of zombies already. So the reject of the maze 1 is going towards the maze 2. Now this maze 2, you cannot at the same time during the whole night be reloading, repairing one maze and reloading, repairing another maze. You will not have time to do all of that. So you need your maze to be self-sufficient, self-sustaining. What I mean here is that these traps, as you can see here in this maze number 2, will obviously run out of counts. When they will run out of counts, if there is a path towards your mid bait, they will reach it. So you need this secondary maze or tertiary maze to be with trapdoors to disconnect it from your mid bait. So in this example here, on this maze 2, I have a first set of trapdoors here. When they fall, they go back at the start of the maze 2. When this is exhausted, they go through this set of trapdoors here. And when this is exhausted, they reach the end, guillotine tunnel, cutters, traps, and they reach the end here. These two trapdoors. When these trapdoors are exhausted, then the zombies do not have a path anymore in the maze 2 to go to the main mid bait. Therefore, they stop going through the maze 2. So, the maze 2 will not be demolished by zombies and will not become a bypass towards your mid bait. This is what I call to have a secondary maze being self-sufficient. When you reach this point, the maze number 2 is completely out of counts of all the traps and completely out of counts on the trapdoors. And when the last trapdoor is disconnected, the maze 2 is kind of automatically turned off and the zombies go back to the main maze. There could be at that point in time a maze number 3 here. That was part of some of the ideas on the future expansion of this base, which I haven't done as of today. Another very important learning for me in this legendary playthrough has been that in the past I have tested in the previous playthrough all the traps, and I was really happy with shredders and cutters because they have 100 counts. And I designed here this serpent looking maze with a overhead reloading deck above, and this works really well. There is no doubt about that. But I believe that when you go in the late game, the range weapons are mandatory. So you have 3 range weapons. You have the flamethrower. I have a flamethrower just behind here to welcome them. Another flamethrower here, for example, and these flamethrowers do some damage and slow down the enemies, which, when they are slowed down, of course, you buy time. Then you have the trebuchet. trebuchets are, again, very expensive to operate. I mean, every day you need dozens and dozens of stones and boulders to operate these trebuchets. But they do area damage. So when the zombies will be slowed down by the flamethrower, then the trebuchet will do big area damage on the slowdown zombies. And you can just see there the amount of bags here. It's all the zombies killed by the combination of the flamethrower and the trebuchet. So these two ranged weapons are really mandatory in a late game design. They are very expensive to operate. You need plenty of oil, plenty of stones, but later on you will need it at some point in time. The third ranged weapon is a ballista. So the ballista is also expensive to operate. However, it is very, very important because on any area you can put just a maximum amount of traps. So you can put guillotines, you can put cutters, you can put compressors, pendulums, but you will be limited by the footprint. So when you utilize the ranged weapon that is a ballista, you can add the damage in a focal point of contact here. For example, at the mid-bait, you have all the damages of all the cutters around and guillotines, plus the damage of the ballistas. Therefore, these ballistas also become extremely critical in the late game, because there is a moment, due to the maximum 50 pass or 50 blocks for the pass of the zombies, you cannot add any more traps. In the main pass, you cannot add any more compressors, pendulums, shredders, cutters. There is a moment you just don't have the room to do that. The only way to increase your damage output is on the side of this main pass to add ranged weapons. So trebuchets and flamethrower are really good as a starter. Probably a flamethrower at the end could work well. However, you need yourself to repair your mid-bait, reload your ballistas. So if there would be a flamethrower here, this could present to some extent a danger to the player. It depends on your design. I believe it's possible to do so. But then there is a oil consumption limitation. So on my end, I would recommend to have the flamethrower where you have plenty of zombies. So each unit of oil is highly, highly useful. If you use the oil for the 3 or 4 butchers that would reach the end here, that's a choice of use, but that might not be ideal. So ranged weapons are mandatory in the late game. Finally, I would like to share one last key tip, is that whatever you do, whatever how good your maze is, there will be a moment when you will become overwhelmed. It will happen. It's just a matter of time. At some point in time, it will just become too much. When this will happen, you will end up in trouble. Maybe they will eat your mid-bait. Maybe they will change of target from the mid-bait to you. Maybe they will break the path because they will be bashing around them and they will break the path to the mid-bait. For several reasons, there can be a moment when you are yourself, the player, in trouble, and not just your maze, but you are in trouble. You need a backup. So in this game, I built this parkour platform here outside, which permits that in case of trouble or problem, and it has happened a few times to be very, 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 very useful in the middle of the whole night upon my death, that from the main maze, I can run far here, and then zombies follow me, and from there I can go to the parkour platform, and from the parkour platform I get back inside, while all the zombies are far there. This buy me time. Once again, it's about time. This time is not about time to harvest resources. It's not about time to reload and repair traps. It's about time for the zombies to close on you, to come back to you. So the time for the zombies to do the entire tour back here, up to you, gives you the time. Either to build a new mid-bait, either to reload traps, either to pick up your backpack if you have died. So once again, you gain time, and this is, I think, very important to have an emergency backup. I believe there are many ways to do it, and it's not necessarily a parkour platform like this. The backup could be to build another base on top of a POI building with another mid-bait and another pass and more traps and more trapdoors. There are many ways, I think, on how this could be done. Here I did it very cheap because at the time I was kind of low on resources and low on time, and I needed to build something at that time. I invite you to join the website nightofthedead.org, where you can obtain support as a new player or discuss with other fans of the game about maze design, about testing of traps, about interactive maps, about multiplayer servers. You have a lot to get in this website, nightofthedead.org. Cool. So in a summary, I think we have covered now the resource management, and you need to be smart in your tech tree on how to develop your build and your research in the very, very early game, and be wise in when to invest into self-sustainable resource generation from animals on day 1, from mining machines between day 10, 11, 12, and oil machines before day 20, ideally. And we have covered a couple of key aspects in how to design the master plan of your maze in a long-term survival aspect. I hope you have liked this video. Please leave a like and subscribe for more Night of the Dead videos, and I also invite you to watch my Let's Play series in Legendary if you want to know more about the experience and all the adventures along the way, and to watch, if you haven't done yet, my other guides on upgrades, base design, and day 1 for beginner. Until then, I'll wish you a good day and see you soon. Cheers.